Welcome to our studio, Daybreak Live. Oak Grove Mayor Tony White and Oak Grove Fire Chief Charlie Obar. Gentlemen, good morning to you both.
Good morning, sir.
And Happy New Year.
Same to you.
Mayor, you were a former fireman for what, a few years, right?
Just a few years, like 45 years.
Yeah. And Charlie, what about you?
It's starting the 24th year for me.
Okay. First of all, let's talk about the town of Oak Grove. And Mayor, give us kind of an update of where you are going into 2022 with Oak Grove.
Well, we've got a few things that we're trying to do in Oak Grove. We just got through doing a big revamp on our sewer system. We're having a lot of infiltration in water, surface water, so we've revamped that, and it's really helped tremendously. We've got a few things, talking to a few businesses to come into Oak Grove.
That's always good.
That's always good. It's kind of hard these days. People don't want to turn loose and money and build or, move or anything like that. So we've got some things going on out there. Charlie's doing a great job with the fire department. They're doing some fire safety stuff with different businesses out there in different schools. And,
How many city employees do we have?
15.
Okay.
15 full-time.
Yeah, all right.
We're not a big town. We're just getting by. So we're doing good, though. We're doing good.
Charlie, it is the winter time, 27 degrees this morning, and a lot of people using their heaters and all different forms of heating. And it is, I guess, it's fire season right now, isn't it?
That's correct, it is. And heating equipment is the second leading cause of house fires. So we'd like to make everybody aware to, be thinking about that and be sure that they operate the equipment correctly is mainly the problem that they have.
Years ago, when I was a little guy, we had a pot-bellied stove that burned coal.
That's been a minute ago, hasn't it?
It has. Okay. Things have changed, and we've got a lot of different heating apparatuses now out here. What's some of the ones that we're concerned about?
The space heaters seem to be the biggest problem as far as starting the fires. People have them too close to the wall, too close to a bed, that type of thing. It'd be an old space heater and doesn't have the safety switch to kick off when it turns over, things like that.
Are y'all available to go to different schools and stuff to talk about fire safety?
We try to generally go to the B.B. Comer once a year. I think we actually had Silicaga go this past year. We were tied up on a fire call when they wanted us to come. So, but yes, we go to the local schools and do fire safety stuff with the children and do handouts and things for the kids.
Now, Mayor, is the fire department at Oak Grove, is that a volunteer fire department, or how does it work?
Completely volunteer.
Wow.
Even Charlie's volunteer. And these guys, I praise them every chance I get, because I know what it is to go out at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning at 25 degrees outside and fight a house fire. I got paid for it. These guys don't. You have got to be a special kind of person to do that.
Charlie, why do you do that?
It's just something I loved. I got into it at 18 and been with it ever since.
Wow. Wow.
Talking about the space heaters a while ago, please tell everybody at least 3 feet from anything. That's the range. People get them too close to, they'll be sitting in a chair or something and have a throw or something over them, and they'll put it right up against them, and if they go to sleep, sometimes it catches on fire. If they put it 3 to 4 feet away from them, that's the barrier. That's the comfort zone between them and the heater.
Wow. Chief, do people more injured or die from the fire itself or smoke inhalation?
Smoke inhalation is mainly the cause of death in the fire. Smoke usually gets the person before the fire does.
Yeah. And how many fire calls do y'all go on a year, you think?
In the past 3 years, we've averaged 700, over 700.
Oh my goodness.
Altogether. And a good portion of that be medical, but 700 calls.
Yeah, yeah. Wow.
And Oak Grove has the biggest coverage. We have 15 volunteer fire departments in Tyler County. Oak Grove has the biggest coverage of any of them.
So where is the coverage area? Or where isn't it?
We cover from 280 at Childersburg city limits all the way back through 5 Points, Odina, just shy of 21 on Odina Road South, and then come all the way to Sylacauga city limits. Everywhere we touch Sylacauga city limits as far as the county is concerned, that's all Oak Grove's coverage.
Wow. And Mayor, being a fireman down through the years, you know how important equipment is, and you worked with Sylacauga Fire Department for a lot of years, and the equipment is so important. How do we get equipment at Oak Grove, and what type of equipment do we have?
Well, a lot of times Charlie does very good with his money, and a lot of times he just pays cash for it. But the big ticket items, as they call them, a lot of times we'll get a grant for it. Like a pumper, we'll get a grant for it.
Charlie, do y'all have grant writers that do this for you, or do y'all write them, or what?
I've wrote one. An ex-clerk has wrote one. And I think the very last one was with a grant writer.
Okay. Other issues we have this time of the year with the cold weather, with fire hazards?
Chimneys. People will not get their chimneys cleaned out before they start using them. And salt will build up inside them. And when it gets really hot, it'll catch on fire inside, internally. People need to get it cleaned at least before they start using it in the wintertime, and then when they get through using it in the summertime, clean it out.
Yeah.
That way they forget when it gets wintertime, then it's already cleaned out. So that's a big issue sometimes.
Chief, everybody likes a good wood fire. You know, it just makes the house feel more cozy and warmer, but that can be very dangerous too.
It can, especially if they don't have the screens on the front of the fireplace. If they leave it unattended, and you know something pops out on the carpet or hardwood floor and catches the house on fire.
How quickly can a fire become out of control?
3 to 5 minutes. I think 3 is about the average.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's according to what it catches on fire too. Curtains will go up in a minute. There's different types of stuff out there now that will burn real easy. And there's all kind of plastics and foam, stuff like that these guys have to be really careful about, and where their SCBAs are, it will kill them. You mentioned Sylacauga a while ago. Sylacauga, they run a lot of fire calls this time of the year, and Sylacauga does a good job.
I know y'all work hand in hand with other fire departments too.
We do. You wanna?
We have an automatic aid agreement with Sylacauga, mutual aid agreements with the surrounding volunteer departments. So we work really well with everybody, all our neighbors. It works really good.
And I will say that Chief Osgood and Chief Obar do have a good working rapport with one another.
Yeah.
Really do.
First responders. We don't hear about first responders till they're on the front lines. And then we realize how important first responders are.
That's right. Yeah, the people that we have at Oak Grove that volunteer, and like he was saying earlier, you can't give anything for them. I mean, they're special people. But all first responders together, it takes a special kind of person to want to do that type of work. You see all kind of unimaginable things that you wouldn't want to see, and we do really good at Oak
You have
Grove.
female firefighters as well, I guess, right?
We do.
Yeah.
They have them in Sylacauga also.
Yeah.
Sure do.
Wow.
And she does a good job. She does a good job.
Talking about fire prevention and fire hazards, Tony White, the mayor of Oak Grove, 45-year veteran of firefighting, retired, and Charlie Obar, the fire chief at Oak Grove. What are some needs, Charlie, that you see that the fire department needs for 2022?
Going into 22, we're looking at trying to get new gear for our firefighters. It's been a few years since they've had new turnout gear, and we're going to try to go after a grant for the next grant writing process to come open for that and get new gear for them.
Do the volunteer firefighters and first responders, do they sometimes just say, hey, I'm going to buy my own stuff? Can they do that?
Well, they can, but
Pretty expensive?
Most of them can't afford it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
It's anywhere from $2,500 to $3,500.
Oh my goodness.
And that's just for boots, coat, and pants.
Yeah.
Not counting helmets.
Wow.
Helmets is like, what, $800?
The cheap ones, 300 to 400, and it goes up from there.
So how many units do y'all have?
Trucks.
Yeah.
We have two pumpers, one tanker, and a brush truck, and a command vehicle.
Okay. Wow. Talking with Charlie Obar, who's fire chief at Oak Grove, and Tony White, the mayor of Oak Grove, former fireman of some 45 years, and Charlie with well over 20 years in firefighting. And we continue our conversation this morning. I have seen stories, and being in broadcasting, you see a lot of stuff that comes by your desk every day. Seen stories of people trying to heat their homes with a stove, a cooking stove.
Yes.
How dangerous can that be?
Very dangerous. And cooking fires, cooking is the #1 cause of residential structure fires. People put something on the stove and walk away and forget about it, but if they're using it to heat, they're opening the oven part, and which is dangerous in itself. But children coming by and it being hot, getting burned, and I think the heating equipment or using something to heat with is the third leading cause of fire injuries and fire deaths.
I guess when you get a call, I have children that are in law enforcement, and when you get a call, you never know what you're going to, and you never know if there are people inside. Right. And you try to find all of this out, and you've got a purpose there. How do you mentally prepare yourself for something like that?
I don't know a correct way of putting it. You just there to do the job, and if there's somebody there that you have to get out or whatever, you do it.
Are you trying to find out in advance if the house is occupied or the building is occupied before you get there?
Yeah, and most of the time our dispatch center does really well with that. They'll tell us everybody's out, or it's an abandoned house, or if anybody's hurt. 9 times out of 10 we'll know beforehand. But there's some that we don't.
With the drug issues that we have in our country, there are meth houses and stuff like that, and those meth labs, they can catch fire as well. You had to deal with that?
Had dealt with some that have already been on fire. Not any that have caught on fire or blown up or anything. So it's a hazmat situation when it comes to that point. It's really dangerous. You don't want to get any of that stuff on you, and all the chemicals and stuff.
We talked about wintertime fires and your gear. I don't know how much the gear weighs, but in the summertime, we get 100 degrees and you're wearing that gear, I guess it can melt some pounds off of you too.
Yes, it can.
It can.
The gear itself weighs about 75 pounds.
Oh my goodness.
That's not counting the SCBA.
What is that?
That's the self-contained breathing apparatus.
Okay.
It weighs probably about 40 pounds itself, according to what kind of bottle you have. But
so you're carrying over 100 pounds, 125 pounds or so of gear.
Heavy boots.
Goodness.
You need to be in good shape.
I was about to say, how do you stay in shape for that?
You do. You need to be in good shape.
When we train, they train with their gear. They get out there to that walking track around Oak Grove, and they get used to the gear really quick, or they say, "Oh, we don't want to do this anymore." So you've got to be in good shape, good health, or you won't be able to do it.
I'm going to throw a name out here, and a lot of people in this area may not remember. I do, and there's been several volunteer firefighters. The name Bill Mcfarland.
Do we know him?
Yeah, we know Bill.
We know Bill a little bit.
Yeah.
Bill was a good one. Bill, if there's one thing I could say about Bill, you could depend on him. Bill was, like I said, he was a good one up until he had to retire from it.
Yeah.
Are there other firemen that you remember that are retired now that's been a part of the Oak Grove Fire Department?
Odell.
Robert Baird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leon Dale.
That's
he
one.
was the fire chief out there. Leon Dale.
That's who I was thinking about. Yeah. Wow. So how do you get volunteers?
Well, we've been really fortunate at Oak Grove. We hadn't had to run any ads or put any kind of word out. We're in a really good location where the station is at, and get all kinds come by wanting to volunteer, and we give them an application, they turn it in. So we really don't have to beg for volunteers, so to speak. We have a good group of folks most of the time.
Yeah. Walk us through the process of a house fire, whatever the cause may be, for someone who's in the house. What do they need to do besides keeping their composure trying to get out of that house?
Call 911.
Get out first.
Get out and call
Okay.
911.
Get out first, get completely away from it, call 911, and do not re-enter. That's our job.
We've seen time after time after time, and we love pets, but we've seen people lose their lives going back in after they're out to get their pet.
This day and time, people think their pets are their children. And I understand, you know, they've been with them a long time and they love them. But normally a pet will find its way out unless it gets trapped. A lot of times the pet will come up, you know, 30, 45 minutes later.
They got better sense than us a lot of
That's
times.
correct, yes, they do. They'll find a way out. If they're not trapped, they can find a way out. And it's very, very dangerous to try to go back in, because when we get there, we've got the equipment to go inside. Even if it's on fire, we've got the equipment to go inside to do a search. Of course, we have water with us to protect us also. But we have equipment to go in and try to find if it's a pet or a human, either one. When you get on the fire scene, there's a thing that we call it 360. When chief gets on the scene, or whoever the supervisor is, they'll go around the house looking for fire, looking for basements, looking for false basements, anything that could, if they enter the house, that they could go in, maybe fall through the floor or something like that and get trapped in a basement. So that's a good safety thing that we do right off the bat.
Charlie, talk a little bit about this morning about operable smoke and fire alarms.
Fire alarms are great. I wish everybody had them, just like smoke detectors. You should have a smoke detector in your house, 2 or 3 at least, depending on the size. And maybe
That
more.
work?
They work. They make them now where you can buy them, and you can get them at Walmart. They're fairly inexpensive, and it'd be a 5-year alarm or a 10-year. Battery will last that long on them. They're really important to have. You're asleep in the middle of the night and you don't have fire alarm or smoke detector, no way of knowing that the house is on fire unless you just hear a crackling pop, you know, get woke up by the fire. The smoke's probably gonna get you before you can get out of the house.
What about an exit plan?
Very good to have an exit plan, fire plan, pre-fire. I think every family should have one, every house should have one. It would help. Wake up in the middle of the night, like you were saying earlier, you're startled, you don't know what's going on. And if you realize that the house smoke detector, fire alarms alerted you, you notice a fire, you got that in your mind, back of your mind, know what to do.
Wow.
And a meeting place, that's a good place to have, especially if you have children. If you have upstairs, have a rope ladder that they can go out the window. Don't let them come down through the smoke and everything. And let them know where this meeting place is going to be at. And when you get there, hopefully everybody will be there.
Yeah.
And you're talking about pets a while ago. Pets will sometimes wake you up if you have a fire in your house. I've heard on the news before, and I'm sure y'all have, where the pet woke the person up. So, you know, just very, very good to have smoke detectors. It's very good to have a evacuation plan. A meeting place for accountability. All this stuff is very, very important.
Charlie, the top 5 causes of structure fire.
Cooking, heating equipment, I would say
Do we use electric blankets anymore?
I don't
I know.
know.
I know some
Older
folks
folk
do.
may.
Right.
I mean, you guys are young, but
Well, thank you.
we've got an older population in our area.
Oh, yeah.
So,
And we're not as quick as we used to be, and we're old school. How do you re-educate older American, older Oak Grove and surrounding areas about being fire safety minded?
well, you got the cooking, the heating, and then you got your electrical stuff, electrical blankets, stuff like that, and then smoking and I think candles are the top 5. And candles, you know, people, when the power goes out,
Yeah.
using candles, especially in cold weather. And I've run a couple different house fires that were started by a candle being flipped over on a bed.
And don't forget dryers.
And dryers, cleaning out your dryer vents and stuff. Very simple things to do to keep from causing a house fire.
Can some structures go up quicker in flames than others?
Your modern built stuff goes up way faster than all your older built homes. And I run into this a lot. Some of the other areas probably don't, but like the houses that built through the Mill Village, tongue and groove wood throughout. We had a house fire this past week over there, and the flooring on it was 4 layers thick, 2 3/4 inch sheet of plywood, and then 2.
Oh my goodness!
That in the walls, tongue and groove both sides, and one of them, you know, will burn for a long time.
Yeah.
Your new stuff now, within 5 to 10 minutes, all the composite materials that are in it, it goes really quick.
And you know, different types of heating is used in homes, and I've had people to tell me they use kerosene heating in their home, and all those kind of chemicals and stuff can cause problems.
That's why you have a,
Carbon monoxide detector.
right. And the good thing about those heaters, like Chief was talking about a while ago, probably any of them you get nowadays, now you're talking about old school that we had 20 years ago, the ones nowadays, they have if they tip over, they automatically shut off.
Okay.
So that's a big safety factor.
So if people would like more information, especially on smoke detectors and fire alarms and stuff like that, and you know, older American, we may not know how to install these apparatuses. Is there help that they can get to do that?
Yes, most of your fire departments will come out and install them.
Just as a service?
Just as a service.
Yeah,
Just to
Keep
make
people
sure.
alive.
Right.
And the Red Cross.
Okay.
We partnered with them a couple years back, and I think Silicaga did too, where they provided the alarms, and we provided the manpower to go out and put them up. It was free, didn't cost the residents anything. I don't know if the Red Cross is still doing that program, but there's several different ways to go about it.
If there are people watching this morning that would like more information about becoming a volunteer fireman, fireperson with Oak Grove, what do they need to do?
Come by Town Hall or Oak Grove Fire Department Monday through Friday, 8 to 3.
Be somebody there, right?
Be somebody there.
Hey, thank you both for coming this morning.
Oh, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Oak Grove Mayor Tony White, retired fireman for 45 years, and Charlie Obar, Fire Chief of the Oak Grove Volunteer Fire Department, our guest this morning on Daybreak Live. We're back after this.